Hello again, everyone. Welcome back to Arcanum. Alright, I believe 9 Grey Wolf Terrace was where we wanted to go to meet Victor Misk. So this might be him. Greetings, madame. Might I be of service? Yes. Might I ask who you are? Of course, madame. I am Wesley Cowington, a butler here at the Misk household. I see. Might I ask you a few questions, Wesley? Of course, madame. Where can I find Mr. Victor Misk? His face goes pale. You haven't heard? Oh, I see. Perhaps you ought to speak with Mrs. Misk. She's in the parlor, madame. I'll do that. Thank you. Oh, sounds like he's dead. How are you this day? A pleasure, madame. Might I ask who you are? The youngish woman before you is dressed in a dark blue gown with a small hat and veil. She is strikingly beautiful. Her hair is a deep shade of amber, her eyes ice blue, but a little swollen and red. You surmise she's been crying. I'm Lillian Misk, wife of the late Victor Misk. The late Mr. Misk? He's dead? Yes, he just recently passed. We put him in the ground not 4 days ago. Very sorry for your loss, madame. Have you a moment? Certainly. Could I ask you a few questions about Victor? What would you like to know about him? What happened to him? He drowned. Tears well up in her eyes. They found him down by the docks, washed up onto the shore. We hadn't seen him for days, but he had been that way for the past few months. What do you mean that way? Victor became unbalanced in the last few months of his life. He began having delusions, frequent anxiety attacks, ever since they released that cursed book. You mean The Curse of St. Eng by Kendrick Wales? Yes, once the book was released here in Caledon, he became convinced he was going to be the next victim of the so-called curse. I tried to comfort him, to tell him it was all an author's conjecture, but he just wouldn't listen. He would say, they got my old dad, now they're coming for me. Where was the funeral? At the Caledon Cemetery. It's northwest of here, near the Panari Temple. Was there anyone strange at the funeral? Not that I remember. There were a few of our friends, the servants, and some family. A few more questions about Victor. What would you like to know about him? What sort of delusions was he having? He would say that people were following him, that hooded and robed figures would appear all around him, staring at him, watching him. He said they would approach him, demanding the book, and threaten horrible things if he wouldn't give it to them. Almost exactly what had been described as happening to the previous owners of the book. And you never saw any of this? No, I believe all those stories drove my poor Victor mad. Of course, there were an ungodly number of collectors who came calling when they found out he still had a copy of the book. But all of them were polite and professional, not an evil man among them. What happened to his father? Victor's father, Philip Misk, was an avid collector of books. At one time he had the largest collection in all of Caledon. He died in a fire. It was deduced that he had fallen asleep in his study while smoking a cigar. Something had caught fire and he was killed in the blaze. Most of his collection was lost in the fire. But not horror among the Dark Elves? No, but Victor didn't find it for many years. It had been hidden in an old chest in the attic of our summer home. It seems Victor's paranoia may have been an inherited trait. Doesn't it seem strange that both died somewhat mysteriously? I don't share that view, madame. I am not a superstitious woman. I miss my Victor more than anything, but I put no stock in such tripe. Both Victor and his father were victims of chance and circumstance. I'll hear no more talk of it. So why didn't you resurrect him? Let's see. Where's Victor buried? At the Caledon Cemetery. It's northwest of here, near the Panari Temple. Anything else? No. Whoops. Could I ask you about horror among the Dark Elves? What would you like to know about the book? Do you still have a copy of it? No, up until the last 2 weeks, Victor carried it on his person all the time. Then one day he came home and told us he had hidden it somewhere that only he and his old dad would know. We all thought it was very strange, but by then, there wasn't much about Victor that wasn't. How did it get out that Victor still owned a copy? Anger in her eyes. I don't know. We had kept it secret for so very long. Only Victor and I knew, as well as some of our servants, but none of them would ever have said anything. They're like family to us, and we've always treated them so well.
Perhaps Mr. Wales paid one of them a hefty sum for the information.
Yes, I know, and we did ask all of them, but all of them denied any complicity in the matter. I trust them all, and besides, I have no proof to the contrary. I suppose I'd be grateful if someone were to look into the matter.
I'd be honored to offer my services.
Any help would be appreciated. The servants are around the house. Feel free to speak with them.
So I just misplaced something. Alright, I will do that. Alright, that's I guess that's about it. Let's go ahead and talk to Wesley the butler. Let's see, I have some questions about that book of Mr. Wales.
You mean the Curse of Sen Ang?
That rubbish, I'm surprised you'd have the audacity to mention the name of it in this house, madame, especially knowing what it did to Mr. Misk.
Forgive me, but I'm looking into the matter for Mrs. Misk. He narrows his eyes at you.
Are you insinuating that I might have something to do with that, madame?
Oh, I didn't say that, Wesley. Perhaps you might be able to help me.
He looks relieved. Oh, good. I've been a loyal servant to the Misks for many years. I'd hate to think that Mrs. Misk didn't trust me any longer.
Is there anything that you know that might help me?
He looks around, lowering his voice. I'm not one to talk bad about people, but if you're looking for a place to begin your search, I'd go no further than Brenda, the maid. She may not look it, but she's...
He's almost whispering,
a half-orc. You just never know.
Interesting theory, Wesley. Is there anything else you can tell me?
No, it just infuriates me that someone would betray Mr. Misk. I hope that you find out who the responsible party.
Shouldn't there be an is at the end there? I'll do my best, Wesley. Good day to you. There's a book stand in there. Can I get in there? Apparently by going outside. Nope. Alright. Ooh, excuse me. I suspect that that's where the book is, and I just need to find a way in there. Ooh, electric light. They're clickable.
Hello, madame. How might I help you?
Yes, might I ask who you are?
Yes, I am Brenda, the maid.
She seems to struggle with her words. She has a thick, orcish accent. Wesley, this seems like kind of obvious now. I see. Might I ask you a few questions, Brenda?
Certainly, madame.
I have some questions about the Curse of Sen Ang. She seems very nervous.
Why would you ask about that bad book? That book drive Mr. Misk to his death. I don't want to talk about it.
I'm investigating the matter for Mrs. Misk.
Oh, what do you want to know, madame?
Do you know how Mr. Wales found out that Mr. Misk had the book?
No,
She looks around frightened.
I know nothing about that. I mean, I love Mr. and Mrs. Misk. I never do anything to hurt them.
She seems flustered, unable to find the right words. I'm not accusing you. Do you have any information that might help me? She seems to calm down slightly.
I know nothing. I just do my job. Try to make money for my family.
Her face turns red. She's obviously agitated by your questioning.
I know nothing, madame. I just wish that Mr. Misk would come back. I don't want to talk, madame.
Alright. Alright, that's locked. There is a door there. just doesn't light up. If I try and unlock it... Yeah, people will get pissy. I'm just gonna check. Divinations and magics for the adept. Okay, so that's not it. Alright, well, that's good to know. Alright, well, it doesn't seem like I can get any more information out of either of them. I may have screwed up that quest. I will double check it afterwards. I wonder if Philip's grave is where the...
Excuse me, I'll just be a moment.
Virgil? Virgil?
Oh, I'm sorry, I had something to do here. I'm ready to go when you are.
Virgil, what are you doing here? Whose grave is this?
Nothing. This is someone I used to know. Many years ago, I just thought I should stop by and pay my respects.
Lawrence Brummond? Was he a friend of yours?
Lawrence was my friend. We grew up together. In Tarant, actually. Our families moved to Caledon when we were older. He died in an accident. Terrible accident.
What happened?
I don't want to talk about it. Please, let's just be on our way.
Okay.
I'm sorry, well, forget it.
Why don't you just tell me, Virgil?
Perhaps another time.
Dang it, Virgil. Headstone says Lawrence Brummond, 1860 to 1884. All right. A freshly filled grave. See, Virgil, now you've screwed up my order here.
I say, you're that woman that survived that awful blimp crash. Awful business, really.
Greetings, dwarf. May I ask who you are?
I am Bingham Schulfest, the gravekeeper of this cemetery. How can I help you?
Bingham Schulfest? It doesn't sound like a dwarven name.
It's not. You see, I grew up in Caledon, and although I do have a true dwarven name, my family doesn't care at all for ancient dwarven history. We're city dwarves, and proud of it. It's a new world, and most dwarves around here like it that way. Of course, there is my neighbor's boy. Oh, what was his name? Malcolm Schulfest, I think it was. Always making up things about his ancient clan and whatnot. Hey, hold on a minute. There he is.
What is it, Bingham?
There he is, Malcolm.
He points at Magnus.
Oh, I haven't seen you for 50 years. Where have you been off to? Your father was getting worried. You're only 150 years old, you know.
Talking about him? You point to Magnus.
Nice, that's him, all right. So good to see you, Malcolm. Where were you? Off on another one of those crazy quests to find a lost clan?
Bingham winks at you.
Little Malcolm, what an imagination.
Can you wait a moment, Bingham? Magnus?
Let's humor this old fool for a while. He might be able to help us, and if playing along with his delusions helps our cause, I'm willing to do so.
Of course. But you don't know this dwarf?
This city dwarf? Of course not. I am a dwarf of the old tradition. I care little for these dwarves who forget their history and their heritage.
Right, but he does seem to know who you are.
What? You must be joking. Look at him. He's grown soft. And his beard. I'd go so far as to say he probably trims it.
You're probably right, Malcolm.
Don't take the farce too far.
Just staying in character. Bingham, might I ask you a few questions? What can you tell me about this graveyard?
Not much to tell. Just a place where Caledon brings her dead. I've been working here for 80 years, and I've seen a lot of bodies come and go. Stories I could tell.
I'm sure. Can I ask you a few more questions? I've spoken with the wife of Victor Misk.
Yes, it's such a sad story, that one is, eh? We buried him not 4 days ago.
Yes, truly. Did you know Victor at all?
I knew old Victor crazier than a three-legged chicken in those last few months. He'd come around here all the time, checking on his gravesite and all. Most people will buy the plot for their graves in advance, but I've never seen anyone who wanted to visit it all the time.
Why do you think he wanted to do that?
Who knows? Sometimes he'd just sit for hours and talk to himself. Was always real nervous, looking around at every little noise. Poor man should have been institutionalized.
Can you show me where he's buried?
Surely, it's the last grave on the third row up from here. Feel free. I'll be here if you have any questions.
Okay, I'm departing. Does Magnus's character sheet give me his last name? No, it doesn't. I don't remember what he said his last name was. Alright, so that's probably his grave. Here lies Victor Misk. That is indeed his grave. Okay. I suspect I'm going to have to dig this up, aren't I? Beloved father, I told you I was sick. Hey, who blew out the candle? Hello, is anyone there? Sleep with angels evermore. Precious love, precious one, we will meet again, to be as one. Weep not, father and mother, for me, for I am waiting in glory for thee. I came here to die, not to make a speech. We must all die, there is no doubt. Your glass is running, mine is out. A precious one from me has gone. I am left alone to carry on. Poems and epitaphs are but stuff. Here lies Zed Blacksword. That's enough. Nothing is so sacred as honor. Nothing is so loyal as love. Here, life is a jest. All things show it. I thought so once. Now I know it. Many a heart by sorrow pressed doth envy me my peaceful rest. Sometimes there is no poison like love. Nary a drop in area 1, dead anyway because of a gun. This tombstone is a millstone. Ha, how so? Because beneath lies miles, whose miles below. Okay. Love is your spirit in the sun. Strength is your legacy you left. Life is your essence, never gone. This old world is made brighter by the lives of folks like you. Step softly, a dream lies here. So much to do, so little done. Carrie McGee, old man McGee wanted to marry, so the devil sent him Carrie. Sleep on, sweet baby, and take thy rest. God called thee home, he thought it best. Learn the living from the dead, how easy breaks life's tender thread. Rest in peace. Headstone says, Lawrence Brummond... Right, I looked at that one already. This spot is the sweetest I've seen in my life, for it raises my flowers and covers my wife. And there's the atheist one again. Earth this casket keeps, and the sunbeams long to linger, where our sainted baby sleeps. Beloved mother. Here lies a man who died. Nobody mourned, nobody cried. How he lived, how he fared, nobody knows, nobody cares. Grim death took him without any warning. Well at night, dead in the morning. Eat, drink, and be merry, for tomorrow you may die. There's a door there. Let's go up here and see what's through this door, if we can. Cannot see the target. What? Oh, no one got pissy. Not that there's anything there. Alright, so the doors on those corners are outside. Elite Guard. Oh, there's a locked barrel in there. another shovel. I think we're going to need to use that. Oh, that's going crazy. Alright, 2 locked barrels in here. Take all the goodies. Alright, Chuka. Well, I guess I didn't really need to get the other... hold on to a shovel, but I'll go ahead and continue to do so for a little bit longer. Hand over all that stuff to you. I'll hold on to the shovel. Give you the arrows. Wow, 52? That's pretty good. I have 1,024 arrows now. That's a lot. They only weigh 256 stone, though. Alright, well, let's see. Map-wise, what do we have? I think that's the Panari Temple there. Alright, I imagine that if we just, like... It says it's unlocked.
Alright, keep your hands off the graves, cretin. Have you no respect for the dead?
You try unsuccessfully to dig with your hands, so I need to equip the shovel then. Well. Okay. The binding on this book is most obviously a fake. They don't seem to care. Purchased at the Roseboro gift shop. How Nasrudin defeated the nefarious Aranax and other stories. Gather around, dear children, and hear the tale of how Nasrudin defeated the nefarious Aranax, child of darkness. Many years ago, before even the oldest of the elven folk alive today was born to this world, Nasrudin the good, ruled our fair Arcanum with kindness and the firm hand of justice. But Aranax was of the darkness and resented the rule of the light. Within his black heart he conspired to wrest control away from the virtuous Nasrudin and his holy elven council. Nasrudin, in his goodness and not knowing of Aranax's evilness, had bestowed a seat on the Elven Council to Aranax, and to repay this kindness, Aranax destroyed an entire city. Nasrudin's heart was crushed. He condemned Aranax to the void, but Aranax had twisted several of the council to his nefarious ways, and there was war. It was a bitter war, my children, and it's not for Nasrudin, and if not for Nasrudin, Aranax would have destroyed us all. But as it always does, goodness won the day, though a sad day it was, as the great Nasrudin lost his own life as he banished Aranax to the dark eternal void. So without the blessed Nasrudin guiding our way, we would all be enslaved by evil. Remember this as you go to sleep, and know that Nasrudin watches over us all. But beware, Aranax may still be lying in wait for those who do not mind their elders and keep to their studies. Okay, so that's not, that is not the appropriate book. I do have a skull. Should be fine, right? There you go, Sog. You hold on to that. I don't seem to care that I just dug that up, but, you know, hey. It's fine by me. Alright, do we have anything else out here? Elite bow guard. Can you give me bow training? I mean, I do have enough skill for it, I think. Ask you some questions. Yeah, I'll take bow. 86 coins? Sure. You're now an apprentice. Alright. Sounds good. I'd have to go look up to see what exactly that does. Alright, so I believe this is the Panari Temple. Don't see anything there about, I was thinking that we'd find the grave of his father. Well, I don't know. I guess for now, we'll go take a glance in here. This thick tome looks ancient. The pages are worn parchment with gold-leaf illustrations and illuminated letters. The cover says Arcanum. Alright. Let's read it. And Nasrudin, great and powerful father, was born in the elven forests of old. Of this world, but not of it. Body of flesh, but spirit of and wisdom of the gods. Eyes that saw beyond his years. Dreams born of another age. And when he saw the time was right, he gathered about him an elven council, a group of wise and benevolent beings who saw the world as he did. For Nasrudin saw all beings as made equal, and gathered these about him who loved all the races as their own. Dwarf and elf, human and gnome, halfling and orc. All were beautiful to him. What about ogres? And he watched over them all as if they were his own children. And the Elven Council, they protected Arcanum from the evils which infested it. And many were sent to the void, banished from the place for their crimes. Mighty Gorgoth, whose hunger was only sated in the emptiness of the void. Krakatur, whose heart was dark and fearful, but whose fury was only quenched in the blackness of the void. The Bane of Kree, whose bloodlust was limitless and could only be contained in the endlessness of the void. And Kurgan the Terrible, betrayer of the Elven Council, whose dark magics were an abomination and could only be forgotten in the blankness of the void. And the last was peaceful and the land was peaceful until the coming of Aranax. And so came Aranax, who wanted the world for himself, and all of its races as his slaves. And he brought war against Nasrudin and the Council. And they faced Aranax at the Black Spire. And there was a clashing of armies, and much life was lost. And there was a great battle between Aranax and Nasrudin, a battle to end all battles. And the great Nasrudin banished Aranax to the void, and saved the world from darkness and pain. But so great was this battle that Nasrudin himself was mortally wounded, and so great Nasrudin traveled to the southernmost tip of the land, and there he laid himself to rest. But he watches over us still, awaiting the time when the evil shall return, and he shall come again, and he shall be strange to us, and some will not know his face, and his spirit shall be reborn on wings of fire in hills shrouded in fog, and there he shall fight the final battle with the evil one. May your spirit walk always in the peace of Nasrudin. Okie dokie. It's not a terribly large building. Okay, actually no, it's bigger than I thought. It wasn't showing me everything because I haven't... Because it's operating like a dungeon. Okay. Wait. Panari Acolyte, let's talk to you. Greetings, in the name of Nasrudin, welcome to the first Panari Temple here in Caledon. How might I be of service? Hello? Who might you be?
I'm an acolyte in the Panari Church, studying to become an elder one day. Right now, I'm here watching over the temple with the first acolyte while the first acolyte Alexander is away. Where is the first acolyte? Well, it's not for someone as lowly as I to know where the first acolyte spends his time. I am not to question, only to serve the church in the best way that I can. I'm sure he'll be back soon. Alexander never leaves us alone for long. You see admiration in the boy's eyes. I see. Can you tell me anything about the temple? I'm afraid I'm the wrong person to ask. Feel free to look around, but I'd recommend returning later, when Alexander is here. He'll be glad to answer any questions that you might have. May the spirit of Nasrudin be with you. Alright, bye. This door is locked. You sense it bound with strong magics. Alright, so I can't get through. There's a lot of guards on this place. Something tells me that this is not exactly what it is marketed to be. Alright, well, it doesn't look like there's much that we can do there right now. So out we go. And when we come back next time, we'll see if we can find this book, since we do need to find it. See you next time, everyone.